Hey everyone, it's MeraMangle.
And Fabrielle.
And welcome to another Mangled morning.
Woo!
Lots of dreams were broken on All Stars, and that's what we're here to talk about today. The most heartbreaking eliminations, the most shocking eliminations on All Stars.
Like a junior feels.
We're going to get into our list, but before we get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video. Oh my god, why am I struggling today with the stuff I do every time? It's like my brain is like blanking because I'm not thinking, and I get lost. I'm like, where was I? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and join the Patreon. It's like the in-between words are getting me. And I was like, no, plus. I keep wanting to say plus.
Else. Yeah.
And join the Patreon where you can see all kinds of additional content you can't see on YouTube. Plus, you're helping support the channel. Now, you can also support the channel by tipping on Venmo, CashApp, or the YouTube thanks, which we'll go over one of those at the end of the video. So let's get into it, and we're going to jump around a little bit. We're going to start off with two of the most ultimate ones, and one of the few seasons where, like, there's two really shocking ones, and it happens to both of them twice. It is Alyssa and Tatianna on All Stars 2.
I was literally, my gut was wrenched. Let me just say that.
So between these two eliminations, there's actually 4 eliminations, and all 4 are against Roxy Andrews, and she's saved by either Detox or Alaska every time.
They wanted to keep her in there.
Isn't that crazy? And then Alaska didn't realize it till the end.
And yeah, in retrospect, she's like, oh yeah, I did take my best friend till the end.
Oh shit.
Because she gave her a t-shirt.
I would say the one that's not unjust would be Tatiana's first elimination, because it was her and Roxy in the bottom 2 for Snatch Game, episode 2.
Right.
They both just won. So, like, what are you going to do? And, like, Roxy won the lip sync, so.
And Roxy, I will say, I think that episode was like the latex runway, and her.
Had a better runway.
And she had just a little bit of a better one.
But it was
Tatiana.
so heartbreaking. And it just felt like we didn't have enough.
Yeah. No, like, and especially when they came back together, too, and did that iconic lip sync. Alyssa's happened on the anniversary of was it her mom's funeral or something?
Her sister was there.
Oh my god,
I would say that both of Alyssa's were crazy, because Alyssa had just won the week before, and then her partner for the acting challenge sends her home. You know, when...
I think the girls, though, they just really thought Tatianna and Alyssa were fierce competition, and they needed to get them out of there. At least, like, with these certain ones, you know?
Right. They didn't make... But I do love that they both, the second time around, they weren't as pressed. Like... Yeah. Tatianna went out like, yeah.
They knew they slayed during that lip sync together.
Right.
They gave us probably one of the best moments of that season.
Right. They both had outstanding moments regardless.
And they got to be in the mirror, you know, the two-way mirror, face crack. So they gave us...
is that a gift? Because, I mean, that's bad lighting. Alyssa has a crown now, so...
That's true. Let's get Tatianna her crown.
I don't see her in the zeitgeist a lot. Like, she's not doing a lot of big shows and all that.
Yeah.
I think she does a lot local.
She's probably keeping it on the low.
DC, I believe. Next, moving on to All Stars 3 and 4. They're very different in terms of the momentum in the competition.
Yeah.
But they both were the most shocking ones of those seasons. Aja on All Stars 3 and Manila on All Stars 4. We're not including any of the, if you're talking about like self-eliminations, there's a lot of that on All Stars. That's a whole separate category.
That's a whole nother category, gal. Oh my god, Aja. And after BB didn't give her credit for helping her.
She won the first one and then was so consistent.
Yeah. And and I feel like she was a little slept on by the judges. And then she said Ru didn't like her Bridget Bardot hair, even though Bridget Bardot literally went to Studio 54.
What I've pinpointed over the years is Ru has a specific thing. If you mix up the 60s and 70s, they hate that. That specifically is like touches a nerve. She does not want you to mess those up and say you're doing one or the other. Those must have been her formative years.
Yeah.
Because I feel that way about the 90s. And like when people say something's 90s.
And that makes sense for Michelle because she was born during the Marie Antoinette era.
I meant to make that joke. Like, I thought about that as I was putting it all together. And I was like, oh, I should say this. I'm so glad you said that.
we have an unspoken wavelength.
Like, she was there, so it's,
So that's why it makes her mad. Because it's not accurate.
They didn't get along.
They didn't get along. Very that.
No, I mean, and then Manila's was just...
Oh, my God. Like, and...
Game changer.
It was a game changer. And it, like, I
feel like All Stars has not been the same since. Because people play the game. Like, people invoke
Naomi
this...
changed it. She changed the game, baby. Life's not fair.
You know, with Alyssa and Tatianna, you could say it was also competitive. But in reality, it was about friendship. This was about, like... I need this bitch out because I need to be able to have a chance to win.
And I think Naomi even has said she wasn't thinking of it like that. She just didn't trust Manila. And that's
They didn't
why.
have a strong connection with her, as they did with Latrice. The thing about, so far, everyone we've looked at is the audience gets behind them in a type of way that probably wouldn't have happened if they had a, breezy journey.
Yeah.
Like, there's the passion that gets invoked by the fans helps them, their career in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I feel like any time that Alexis or Yara have been eliminated, they're not necessarily the people that should be going home that week.
No.
Doesn't ever necessarily feel fair.
Yeah.
All Stars 1 is weird in general. Because,
Right.
at the end of the day, Rue just wouldn't get rid of Raven and Juju.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Yara hit that.
That was her
button.
Roxy Andrews of the season, was Rujubi.
Right. They will not send them home. They'll send anyone home over them.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing here is, like, all of these iconic eliminations are very iconic girls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
Lots of season 3 girls.
Yeah, true.
Season 3 curse.
The 3, there we go.
Alexis was set up by another season 3 girl, India Farah. Like, the girls didn't trust her because of India's false narrative that we found out way after the fact,
And this is why
she was telling the
like
truth.
you.
Right. We should have known just from that.
Right. I would have put her definitely over
Blair, yeah.
for sure.
Because Blair also, I think, struggled more in that challenge that week.
Oh my God. And Alexis has looked so good.
Yeah.
Like, the red Solo Cup camp gown, was amazing.
It's
and Blair's was
extravagant.
Some napkins.
Sad. It was so sad.
And she was like, I'm giving couture. I was like, coutouring, baby. No.
Now, Yara won episode 1, and then her team won, the 3rd episode, but she had a rocky journey. They got rid of her pretty much as soon as they could because the girls were not enjoying her presence.
I think her workroom
Polarizing.
energy was, a little chaotic, and I think that's why the gals had to get that Yara.
But it's definitely one where, if you look at the track record, she definitely didn't deserve to go.
Right.
All Stars 6 is infamous because Yara wasn't the only one. There was quite a few eliminations that were either shocking or heartbreaking. Scarlet Envy, I think hers is different in a way where she was never recognized, but the fandom felt like she should have been in the top the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then her first time in the bottom, she's out.
And then, I remember Rue saying, her pink table talk made her uncomfortable or something.
It wasn't good.
But uncomfortable? That's
Yeah.
It was so random.
Uncomfortable is one of those words where I would only use that if she said something that...
Offensive.
Yeah, it was bordering on that, but she was just talking about her mom.
She was just talking about her lesbian mother.
About how great her life is.
Right. I was like...
Wasn't interesting.
Right.
Beyond,
and you could say that.
Beyond having lesbian mom, yeah.
Right. You could say it wasn't very personable.
Wasn't that deep.
Yeah.
Or,
But I do remember being like, dang, I really just wanted Scarlet to go a little bit further, but it did not feel like the judges were featuring her, or Jan, for that matter.
Well, Jan had won a challenge, right before that.
I think they gave that to her, and they said, okay.
Well,
that's it.
I mean, speaking of Alexis Mateo, the fact that Jan was the girl that they did the double lipsticks for, and then Trinity, Alexis pulled her name and Pandora out. The fact that it was those two girls, it couldn't have been better for television and reactions and their arcs to get them and get that iconic face again, because Jan gave it.
And I think Jan was kind of going through the gigs at the moment. I remember her verse in that one challenge was I'm preppy. You don't need to try so hard, but Jan does try hard, and that is what I like about Jan.
Yeah, she does everything intensely.
Yeah, she cannot afford to not care, and I like that in a girl. I'm that way sometimes too, so I totally get that. But I was a Jan stan on her original season, and I did foresee her having a redemption, and they gave us a little taste of it with the Lady Gaga, and then said nope. And then Trinity, they were just playing in our faces.
Well, that's the one she won. Oh, you're talking about
her elimination.
She got Eureka came back.
Ugh, that just.
Well, what's funny is if you remember that whole lip sync tournament, she was dressed as that cat, and she was so angry the whole time because I guess she knew she had the most bottoms. She already was accepting that she wasn't going to make the finale.
Oh, it had felt like she wrote it on the walls for herself already. It was I was I wanted to shake her and be why are you acting like that?
Right, because she could have won that week.
Yeah.
And then avoided that.
I loved her story.
What's weird about this season in general, they were looking more at the most bottoms versus, like, are y'all even thinking about the wins? Because TKB had 2 wins.
I know, yeah. It really felt like it felt like a whole
They put more
conspiracy to get Eureka back in the game.
Well, I mean, she had, like, she got the opportunity to come back no matter what, but she could have gone straight back home again, like Morgan.
Right.
But they had her win.
But it was just like, so they kept, like, you know.
I think Kylie should have won that. I still think
TKB me too. Her story was the best.
TKB definitely would have gone home that week.
Yeah.
Because after the fact, Kylie's been very vocal on, like, one of those.
I know about how she was not fun to work with.
But I appreciate that. And that also helps give context.
And Raja, too, I think, agreed with her about it.
Oh, yeah.
Raja O'Hara.
Yeah. Moving on to UK vs. the World 1. This is one of the most infamous ever. Naomi walked so Blue could run. Blue and Pangina could run. Mm-hmm. Well, Pangina ran, did a sprint, and then she got knocked out.
I honestly think we could also throw Lemon into this. Lemon, Jimbo, and Pangina, that whole season, it was, like, honestly hard to watch because it was like watching, like, a Grecian tragedy.
Even the challenges were hard to watch. People always ask me, especially the further it gets away, that shirt where it's, like, just my face reacting. Mm-hmm. It was the UK vs. the World 1 talent show. Oh. It wasn't the elimination, it was me reacting to the talent.
I'm screaming. I just remember Jimbo's, just being like, oh my God, girl. She did not deserve to go home.
She won the first 2 weeks and then got sent.
Yeah, and then Pangina, it did, like, you can be mad at Blue, but I wouldn't trust Pangina after she eliminated Jimbo.
She was playing the game that Pangina started.
Yeah, would you trust someone who just eliminated the fiercest competition? No,
it's weird to me
I would
when
get
people
them out too.
People, like, I feel like if in order to not see it that way, they have to go out of their way to not see it that way.
You have to be delusional.
I think so, because, like, it's just the reality of, like, numbers. Right. Numbers and how people fell in the competition.
And
who
your
did well,
likelihood. Yeah, I think sometimes people, like, it is a competition and it is a game and it's not necessarily, especially All-Stars or UK versus the world, they have a prize and you want to win it. You know what I mean? Like, especially if I saw that somebody else had played that game, then I'm going to play that game back to them.
And they are up for elimination this week.
They're up for elimination. Get them out. And no shade.
Production
Pangina did do the worst in that challenge.
In Snatch Game?
Yeah. Her Mariah was not good.
Right.
Like, so who would you want her to eliminate other than her? So if you want to judge it off of who did the worst that challenge.
Because that was one where they put them all on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I love Juju's share.
Yes, Juju's share was so funny, and it's like, so, I mean,
that's the 1 week she didn't
you could argue eliminating Juju because she had the most chances.
But Juju wasn't risky. But Pangina was a risk to Blue.
Right.
And Blue got that crown.
There you go.
Next, we're jumping to All-Stars 8, where there's 2, but really just one of them I feel like is super shocking. And I feel like she should have been able to lip sync for the crown is Jessica Wilde. But Lala's shocking because she did just win. And then the girl that she saved the week before, and she got this verbal promise from Alexis Michelle.
Yeah.
And she said she had a crush on her. So you say you're a crush on that just saved you?
Well, that was her first mistake, was trusting Alexis Michelle.
But that's how afraid Alexis Michelle is of Candy Muse. She lied about the Heidi thing and then sent home her crush that just saved her, that she made a commitment to. She's so afraid of her.
I mean, listen, that's kind of valid.
That's how I see it.
Right. No, I get that. I wouldn't want to cross Candy Muse either. You know what I mean?
House of Villains, baby.
It was just like, oh, come on, like...
So close.
Like, can't we...
And, like, I still think that it's possible that Jimbo would have won, but actually not if she was saved, because this week it was Candy that had the power, and it was between her and Jimbo. And also, why are they going down to a top 2? They drew that one out.
They do that when they want to, and when they don't want to. It's so weird.
Like,
we could have just had a top 3.
And the episodes were so boring, because there's Jessica, 2 people to look at.
Right.
Next, one of the most controversial seasons ever, and I think you could put tons of eliminations up here.
One of which made me stop watching it.
Pythia was the most shocking. They were very harsh on a lot of the
harsh on some of the girls, not as harsh on others. Pythia's, though, I was like, okay, I need to put the, we need to put the drag race down. I'm done for the day.
She was one where, like, the first time she struggled, they put her right in the bottom. Meanwhile, Tessa Testicle struggled like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. She was getting that Miss Fame, bottom 3, but not bottom 2.
Yeah, I just...
that's the kind of thing. And I like Tessa and I like all of them, but
And I'm
you know,
such a Pythia stan. I don't think...
She had delivered consistently.
And I don't think she... who was she in the bottom two with?
Vanity Van and Vanity.
And I
Vanity
know...
did that Celine Dion lip sync.
She did do it really well, but I just remember thinking, like, we smudge the line with the lip syncs sometimes, and I don't think Pythia delivered a bad enough lip sync to warrant her going home.
Like, that's the problem with that being the format of lip syncing for your life for something like that. Because I guess it's one of the few All-Star seasons where it's been like that.
Right.
Because...
You run the risk.
Yeah, because, I think that Vanity gave an iconic solo performance.
Oh, Vanity definitely won.
So
but it was
good.
just like, I don't know.
No, I know. But also, like, she shouldn't have been there. It should have been Tessa.
She shouldn't have been there.
It should have been Tessa.
Yeah.
Next, we're looking at the non-elimination seasons, and these are queens that people think should have been able to lip-sync for the crown.
Oh.
Should have been in the top. The Vivienne actually had more wins than Shea, and had the same amount of wins as Monet. She had 3 wins. But they did the triple points for the talent show. So even though Shea only had the 2 wins, it put her above the Vivienne. And then Raja was one where I feel like people felt like she should have had more wins, and felt like she should have been in the top group. I could see that thought process, but it's not as literal as.
Well, and she did get her crown. She got she already had hers.
She got the money and a crown. Yeah. Plastique, though, on this last one, she had won 4 or 5 challenges.
I don't think Vanjie had any business being in
the
that.
Same thing where she got the bonus points.
Yeah, but Plastique, come on, she was one of the heaviest hitters of that season.
She was probably Angeria was very consistent, but she was also consistent, and her runways were innovative too. And Brandon,
I mean, her runways were the best we've ever seen. Like, I'm not saying Plastique should have won, but she should have at least been in the top 3 with Roxy and Angeria.
Right.
Like, that would have made narrative
those were the top
sense.
3 of the season.
Yeah.
Plastique is one of the few on that season that had multiple challenges that she should have won that she didn't as well, that were, I think, far more egregious than Raja's. I remember people being upset about Raja, but and there was times where I was like, I could see that, but also I think Monet could have won that one. But Plastique had a few where it was like, no, she should have won. Yeah.
I mean, all winners was kind of hard because they all really did so well.
Yeah.
You can split hairs and say what you want, but it was kind of hard. I don't remember feeling particularly shocked at either of those choices. I love Raja and I love the Vivienne, but I also really love Shea and I do love Monet. And they were, if anything,
Monet
one of them could have taken Trinity's spot.
Monet wasn't in danger. She had just as many wins as the Vivienne, and she won the talent show, so she got the bonus points.
I could have taken either of them and honestly, I probably would have put Jada over Trinity.
Same.
Yeah,
I feel like she was actually more of a standout throughout the season.
I would have put Jada in over Trinity in the
But it was more... A lot of times when I think of her on this season, I think of her just in the workroom or being goofy,
But she did slay in the challenge.
As to where I actually feel like the Vivienne, at the time, she talked about it in one of the Untucks, felt like she didn't deserve to be there with those winners, so she was kind of like...
She was a little more subdued than the Vivienne. The Vivienne, obviously, on the first season of UK...
Dominant.
She was
the room.
She was Alaska. She was like, I'm not doing that. I am
you
that
look
girl.
like that, and I'm going to tell you.
Right. And then I do think she was a little bit more subdued on this season, but her talent spoke for itself.
And the girls were like, when she opened up about that, the girls were like, stop.
Girls were like, excuse me, you are one of the most talented drag artists in the world.
I feel like one of the shifts I remember is, some of the branding that they both did at the end wasn't as strong as, Shea and Monet. But, yeah, Plastique's was...
I was just like, why?
At least the other ones already won.
Right.
Well, that brings us to the most recent All-Stars, Denali. I would say is the only elimination...
And I'm going to flip this table.
Bottom.
Because I'm so over it.
As much as I love Cynthia, it doesn't make any sense, with how they've done on the competition.
Too, and it is heartwarming to see
how much the girls love her and how much she means to them. But
in competition
terms of the challenges, I don't think they were really thinking about that as much as they were thinking with their hearts.
Oh no, yeah, they were leading with their hearts in the purple bracket, and I just love Denali, and I'm a Denali stan forever. She's so amazing, and she's team talent, and I just think the world of her. So this This out of all the eliminations was like the hardest for me of this season so far. And
well, the only other challenge winner that didn't make it through
was Tina
Burner. But also, I feel like the right ones did, and it wasn't particularly controversial.
Yeah.
This one was just like not super logical.
Yeah. And I saw her up there with in making it to the semifinals, and I hope she'll be the wild card, hopefully, and like at least get to show off her incredible lip sync skills, because I can't wait to see her again.
The lyrics. I was like, why'd she say it like that? There was something about her face a couple of times when it reminded me of...
I think she saw what was happening around her.
on All-Star 6.
100%.
When she's like, I already read the script. I already know.
When they were giving her the critiques, if we hadn't been reviewing this show on this channel, I may have turned it off. But I knew I had to finish the episode and make it out of the woods, because when they were giving her the critiques and they said, "Why were you so nervous?" And I'm like, because that's what you told her to do.
You said to be an emotional, nervous dog.
But,
like a support dog, but also you are nervous. That was literally what RuPaul said.
And they were playing her like a dog. Okay.
That's what, like, if one of the other judges was confused, Ru should have said, well, that's what I told her to do.
And that didn't make the cut. That didn't make the edit. But, Denali, her talent, again, it speaks for itself. The fans love her. She's got the world on her, rooting for her. We're all rooting for her.
The world on her shoulders, Anna Fox.
I was giving yellow, but I should have worn black because I'm in mourning.
Yeah. Well, I'll do that for you. I kind of live my life that way, so it
mourning.
It won't change much. Yeah, the Mangle morning is actually with a U in there as well. Now it's time to take a look at our YouTube thanks. Absolutely love this dynamic duo's video. It was so delightful. Mera, you slay every episode of Mangle Morning, and you are my absolute favorite. Thank you. But I also want to say that you have amazing taste in friends and co-hosts. I would just say co-hosts. They're my employees. Chloe, Fabrielle, and Chesty are so unique and amazing in their own special way.
Aww.
They're pretty in their own unique way.
You girls look good.
Right. No, I know that he's being genuine, but there's so many fun ways to read that. I also want to say that you're a huge inspiration to me creating my own YouTube channel. I also cover reality TV content, but it's a totally different show. Intervention. That is very different, very heavy.
Oh, I need to watch.
Those would be that would be interesting to see, like, deep discussions about that post the show, or like not being in the intervention.
Oh.
So I might start watching the content.
There we go.
You're a freaking trailblazer. That's crazy. I've never been called that. That's lovely.
Oh, you blazed a few trails in your day. I've heard that about you.
Yeah, but it's more of a stain. It's a trail, but it's more of a... I shouldn't make it to the bathroom. Thanks for inspiring me to put myself out there and find another passion in life. That's one of the best comments I ever got.
That's so sweet.
That's so sweet.
We need to print it out, hang it up on the wall. That's so sweet.
That is a good one. Yeah, that's a good one to, like, on a bad day to look back on.
Yeah.
And one of the Patreon videos a few weeks back, it came up about, like, how did you pick the co-host or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The way I look at the show is the same way I looked at when I was hosting shows and booking shows in real life. I would always say, like, I want everyone in the show to be better than me. You know what I mean? Not only be different and have a different point of view, but, like, if I'm booking a show, I'm going to be like, ooh, this is a good show. I'm going to have to step it up today. You know, like that type of thing. Like,
right. People that can keep up with you.
Right.
You know.
Or, like, make me push harder.
Yes, yeah. No, I love that.
Or think differently, especially now doing this. That was more like, the show.
Right.
They're very different. Where, like, this is more like, I want someone who comes from a different point of view, has a totally, like, we all four of us that are the main folks that have been here this year. Mm-hmm. Like, we all have very different aesthetics and unique brands,
Yes.
And definitive backgrounds that inform how we see the world.
Yeah, and we bring something different to the table.
Right. Well, let us know what you think about the most shocking eliminations in Drag Race history. And if we missed any, there's more you could put in there, but then we're just, opening the floodgates to be, just anyone can be shocking.
Right.
Like, these are the elite.
These are the elite shockizations.
But you tell me if we're wrong. I have one last thing to say today. Glad you got to see us.